Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Darkest Hour. Tonight is episode 66. It is good to have you all here. This is going to be an interesting one. Should be a good one. Got a little bit of news for y'all. Let's go say hi to the gentleman. Hello, boys.
How old are you?
33. How you going, alright?
You said 33?
Yeah, in dog years.
Wouldn't you be dead by now?
I feel dead inside, don't worry. It gets cleric every fucking day.
Gentlemen, good to have you here. Sorry, we're starting a little bit late, chat. And YouTube viewers, we're watching the Peg cast, as Spuddy put it. One Peg is interviewing SDF and Terry right now. There was there was some good information we'll talk about in this episode. But I wanted to address one important thing. Obviously, Donnie is not here. Unfortunately, Donnie wants to bow out of the podcast. So, TheSpudHunter is going to be our newest co-host on the Darkest Hour. Congrats. Yay. Hello, Spuddy.
Bittersweet, bro. Feels bad and feels good, I guess.
It is. It's bittersweet. Definitely the definition of it. Donnie just doesn't play that much anymore. He's always been the casual guy. He is working a lot. He's got other shit that he's got going on. So he's like, you know what? I'm just gonna bow out of the podcast. I love you guys. We're friends, but I'm just gonna go do my own thing. And I was like, no problem. People move on. That's how life works. So this is the third time. I've known Donnie for many, many years. We've been friends for a long time. This is the first YouTube series, or the third YouTube series slash Twitch thing I've done with him that he has dropped out of. So this is very on brand for Donnie.
It went like a year and a half. That's pretty good.
That's very good.
It's
the longest stretch he's ever actually stuck
If you think about it right, though, like not as in his defense, not many people stick with a game or some kind of genre or something for a very long time. They're in it for like a year and a bit, maybe 2 years.
Yeah.
So he probably just hit his mileage on it and he's like, it's not for me.
Well, he's always been a casual player anyway. Like he dabbles far less than anyone here. It was always the casual, goofy guy perspective, which is great. Donnie's shoes are going to be hard to fill, obviously, but I think you're going to be a great third podcast host. So thanks for joining us.
Thanks, buddy.
And I will say, and then I will say, Donnie will be back for episode 69 to host the Scuffest Hour. That's going to be his goodbye episode.
And you're broadening your representation, okay?
Yes.
You've now got an accent on the channel, on the podcast.
Yep, we got a foreigner.
They're going to have captions for your American audience because they'll be like, what the hell's he saying, man? What the hell's that, man?
He sound like he's from London or something.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What the hell?
An Englishman on this channel?
Look at him drinking his cider there like a proper British man. But yeah, so it does suck to have Donnie leave, but hey, that's how it goes. I'm sure I will do other stuff with Donnie in the future, as I always have over the past many years, actually. So we wish Donnie the best. He's the man. We love you, Donnie. We'll see you for episode 69. That'll just be the three of us and Donnie as our main host. And then Donnie said he's going to come back for 2 episodes. Episode 100 and episode 420. So we'll see him again in
Surely we'll get to episode 420, bro.
Dude, if this podcast makes it to 420, first of all, that's how many years away from now? I don't know. Let's do the math.
Big number.
It's like 8 years away. It's probably not going to happen.
I'll be like a dinosaur by then. We gotta switch topics.
You will have been banned from every platform except Kick by then, Jay. That's where you're gonna end up 8 years from now. I'm just joking. I wouldn't wish that on anyone. But yeah, Donnie will be back for episode 69, 100, and 420 if we ever get that far. But that being said, it is great to have you, Spuddy, as our newest co-host. I think it's going to be great going forward. And that's that. I know it's disappointing, chat, but go throw Donnie some love on his YouTube channel, watch his old videos, hit him up on social media, hit him up on Twitch. He does RP, Red Dead, and GTA and stuff like that. So you can find him out there. All right. So now that sad news and exciting news simultaneously is out of the way, Spud, thanks for joining. We're going to get your state of the game at some point in this episode. We got to hear from you. I just watched your video today. It was fucking hilarious. You had a couple of song numbers in that video that was ridiculous, and it was very funny. So we'll get your state of the game. Oh, go ahead.
I didn't watch it yet. I just saw you had my reaction to the patch notes. I was like, I gotta watch the stream.
Yeah, I tried not to do you dirty. I tried to make it an accurate representation of your perspective. I think you'll have a laugh.
It was a very funny video. There was a couple of songs that went on just long enough where it was very impactful. It was very good. But yeah, we'll hear about your state of the game and how things are feeling for you. I know you're a big Druid fan now, which is cool. But the interview was going on with Terry and SDF, as we said on One Peg's channel. I was working, I was running around, I was doing shit, I was catching it piecemeal. I'm hoping you guys were able to listen more attentively than I. What are some major takeaways?
My first major takeaway was every time they do an interview with someone, they need to Uber in an audio tech to set up their microphone. That's the first takeaway.
I feel like it's different every episode. Every time they do a podcast or an interview, the audio is different and it's always scuffed.
I just love every time Terrence goes, one second, one peg. I'm just going to fix the mic. And then he's like scuffling. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, can you hear me now, bro? It's like every fucking time.
Yeah, you got a lot of room in that cockpit, by the way. I didn't know the X-Wing cockpit was so spacious. Wow. Yeah. You can really move around on that thing. Wow.
Yeah. It's got a retractable seat. I can't shake him. But yeah.
Oh, it's a Y-Wing,
I'll kick it off, bro.
It is a Y-Wing.
July 9th, 2024, dude. It's the day Wizard died. They're like, yeah, Wizard's kind of awkward right now. Anyway, Sorcerer, bro. It's what everyone thinks when they want to play a Magic FPS. I'm like, oh my god. Dual wielding spells. Now they're talking about combining spells. It's over.
Do you think Wizard's going to be boring as fuck in comparison? Is that just like based on what you're hearing about Sorcerer? Or are you just like, why even play Wiz?
Invis, Light Orb, Ignite, and Magic Lock and Slow are all going to be just pinnacles. So sad.
I mean, don't forget, Wizards are still powerful in their own right. They still have damaging abilities. They still sling fireballs. They're still, in some ways, people would call the Wizard the most powerful class, in the D&D universe. Sure. In this game,
is it not? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it not the strongest class in D&D?
There's a strong argument that it is the top tier S tier class above all else in terms of potential. But at the same time, you have to make sure you prepare the proper spell list before an encounter. You have to do some research. It's a different kind of play style in D&D as opposed to just rolling dice to smash something with a hammer as a barbarian, right? There's a lot more to it. I personally think the Sorcerer is the best because of one thing. And in regular Dungeons & Dragons, I don't know about the Sorcerer and Dad, but in Dungeons & Dragons, the Sorcerer has meta magic, and they have this thing called subtle magic. And essentially, it's a subtle spell. Essentially, they can cast spells without, saying anything or using any elements or using a staff. They mentally cast it. Yeah. And it's extremely powerful because in D&D, a wizard has access to counterspell. So if I'm casting a fireball at the wizard, he can just wave his fucking hand and counterspell that shit. And I just wasted my spell and he's going to dunk on me. But if I'm casting it just from my mind and I'm not using any verbal components or anything like that, you can't counterspell that shit. They're just a fireball shooting at me. And I think that's really cool. Now, is that going to be the case in Dark and Darker? Obviously, now there's no subtle spell or counterspell kind of shit in the game as we know it. So I think that the Sorcerer is going to be, dare I say it, maybe even squishier than the Wizard, but have more damage output. I think it's going to be an even bigger glass cannon than Wizard. That's my guess.
In all seriousness, I'm glad they're going to put it. I feel like it'll help them flesh out Wizard since the other caster counterpart is now on the table, It's not so we can't do this because Sorcerer's not out yet type stuff.
See, one thing I think that'll help out with this podcast is, Soma, you've got the direct opposites left and right of you now of the gaming experience. So you've got a solo main and you have Jay plays a lot of solo, but he mostly plays trio when he can when the boys are on. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So you've got solo and trio. So for me, I had a massive like addiction to Wizard for like maybe 4 months. And I was just playing Wizard. And over that 4 months, they just every patch just cut another limb off of the Wizard in some capacity when it came to like their output, you know?
Yeah, you're right, man.
And I noticed over time it just became it's not that it like some things needed to be nerfed, like back in the playtest days when anyone could remember, the fireballs were literally tactical nukes. You know, you could just one tap people.
Yep.
And it was friggin' insane. Like obviously Wizard needed to be nerfed over time. There was issues with it. But it got to the point where like now if you play solo Wizard, you're playing what feels like just sort of a bit of a scuffed version of a barbarian or something. Like you got to do ignite and use a sword or something and do base or a staff and do a bonk build, you know, and clearing PV. And so what I'm getting at is when they add Sorcerer or whatever, I hope they still give a bit of love to Wizard and sort out like sitting on the floor for half an hour, you know, of the match and stuff like that. Just because what I fear is like Sorcerer will make Wizard feel like a redundant class. Like, because at the end of the day, yeah, it's good to have classes that are support roles in trios. But even in trios, like classes that output damage are always going to be picked first. Because why do you need a heal if you're absolutely slaying everyone in front of you? Right. So if Sorcerer becomes this juiced up DPS class where it's like, you know, random bullshit go the class like every sort of new edition until they tone it down, Wizard will just become like the neglected little brother. That's how I see it. So that's what I'm worried about.
He is, man.
Yeah.
He already kind of is. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm a little worried for Wizard. But let's just address something that's important to bring up anyway, and that's having to sit down for spell recovery. I mean, SDF and Terrence, they brought it up in
we did just talk about the wand.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, they're basically like, look, they essentially said we know it sucks to have to sit down to recover spells. When gameplay is I have to sit down to unlock the gameplay, that's not good. Do you think, I mean, is wand with a few charges that go pew pew, is that enough though?
No,
I don't think so either.
But I mean, it'll help. I'm sure.
I would like to see some semblance of an introduction of class traits, like we were talking about a couple weeks ago in the last episode. How we said like, hey, like what if every class just had an innate perk trait, no matter what, something special that made them stand apart as sort of like a always on fifth perk that can't be changed. So like for instance, Barbarian would have Crush at all times. Like every Barbarian should be able to take a two-hand weapon and break a door down as a Barbarian in general, right? I think every Wizard maybe should, in general, when they hit the G key to sit down, meditate is just a part of that for them. Like when they sit down, they're always meditating to get not just spells back, but their health back too. And it comes back quickly, right? Because they're so squishy, it takes so long to get spells back. And then, for instance, Rogue, maybe they should get the lockpick and traps perk automatically or something like that. Do you guys think that'd be good for the game if every class had a trait like that was attached to them? Almost like a fifth perk that was always on.
Yeah, 100%. Because a lot of those things are a part of what should be one of the class's identities. Like Rogue, you expect to be, oh, that's the guy that can open up those chests that are locked. Like we need him in the squad, right?
Yeah.
Whereas what happens is every time you pick certain perks like that, you're negating, you're like mini nerfing yourself with a whole bunch of stuff that helps you survive in PvP. And if you're a solo player like me, playing Wizard, you know, you want to get through fights and PvE quick and get your spells back. And using campfires isn't always the answer because it takes too long and you need resourcefulness. So you pick meditation. So for me, I love 10 spell, but half the time I kind of lean towards meditation spells because I need it to get through the friggin' match. And it just feels like you nerf yourself every time you use what you just suggested, something you should have by default. So yeah, I 100% agree. You know, there's certain things that just should be in the DNA of the class itself.
What would fighter be? Like Maybe some sort of like momentum thing, like the longer you run in a certain direction, the faster you get capped, and if you turn, you lose that speed or something like that. I feel like each class could have something really interesting, really cool.
They could have weapon mastery just by default.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Interesting one.
Sure, weapon mastery by default. That's perfect. The natural healing perk for Druid, where they're always kind of like healing 1 HP every couple seconds. I think that's great.
Maybe if there's no aura. But yeah, it would be a good one. Or fuck it, maybe they do need the aura. Nah, you can't. They're supposed to be able to be like stealthy, you know.
You take party time on Bard and just make that a passive aura, so you can just drink without the detriments at all times. Yeah, everyone can just like get drunk with the Bard. He's the party guy at all times, dude. He's always ready to throw a party, no matter what. I think there's like a bunch of cool ways you could approach it. I don't know. I think Warlock. What would Warlock get? Like the
Infernal Pledge, bro. Less damage from the demons and shit.
Sure, that's great. Yeah, that's perfect. Cleric. What's the one where you get a small percentage every heal that you bust out on someone else?
Kindness. Or
not kindness.
Or undead slaying would probably be a good one.
Yeah, one of those would be great.
Cleric.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I think it'd be sick. I don't know. I don't think that's a priority. I haven't heard anything internally of anything like that at all. Maybe I need to create a Confluence page and message SDF and bother him, because he loves that. Let me tell you, messaging SDF randomly about bullshit, it's his favorite thing ever. He's not busy at all. Okay, so let's go back to Sorcerer for a second, because I was watching your stream as you were watching One Peg, Jay, and whenever they shifted gears away from Sorcerer, you were upset. You were like, why can't we just talk about Sorcerer for a second?
At least give us like a taste, bro.
I know.
Give us like an idea of what's coming. It's just so nice to like be excited for. Especially given the state of Wizard. It's like, what's one thing we would like to hear? New magic. I don't even care before him.
Right. Yeah, I mean, they basically confirmed that Sorcerer is now a priority and that they're working on it. It's,
thank God. I love
moving toward that.
I love it.
Me too. I think, classes are some of the best content that can drop in this game. Spud, I'm sure you would agree, because you have now reinvigorated your love for the game with the Druid class. Classes obviously I would love to see deeper progression with classes, like subclassing or something like that, like think WoW talent trees, shit like that. But more classes like that is so important currently for the state of the game.
I agree, but all right,
okay,
here's me being a pain in the ass, be like, yeah, well, actually, the classes that are already established, some of them still need a bit of love. We've already talked about the Wizard.
Yes.
But even like Fighter, there's still a bunch of dead perks, Like there's perks where it's like you're clearly nerfing yourself, or skills you shouldn't use. Even with Druid, I know like the Herb Mastery or Herb Master or whatever it's called, the one where you can see like little drop doobies and weed on the floor. You know that one?
Hell yeah,
right?
brother.
Yeah, that one. Like, okay, I get it. Like, new players will probably benefit from that, I guess. I don't know. I even me, if I was a new player, I probably wouldn't use it. So there's just little things like that in the game where it's like, it's kind of, yeah.
People use it. I think people go in to make money and to farm certain things. Some people go in and all they want to do is mine, and they literally have a loadout and a kit dedicated to mining with resourcefulness and certain perks. I think druids will go in and rat form and the herb perk on just to pick herbs to make money and sell it on the marketplace. I think it's a small percentage of players. I don't think it's every druid's like, all right, time to get out there and go pick some flowers today. I think those people exist. I think some people, guys like Lord Collector, they enjoy going into the dungeon and taking out their wares and selling it to people. I think
they're adventuring, bro.
Yeah, they're merchants, and I think that's cool. I like that there's moneymaker type folks in the game. Now, am I that guy? Definitely not. But
yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, I wasn't ragging on Iron Mace. I was just saying, like, there's just a couple of things I still think they need to like clean up a bit before they start making new problems for themselves. Because, like, say like they had a druid. There's that first like 3 weeks, a quick rush. We got to fix this because it's pissing off players. Because like that first week was hilarious in like watching trios. Like for solos, it was really strong, but for trios, Druid was insane because it was like, that 3-second entanglement was just hilarious. You just get one person entangled and everyone just skewers them like 3v1.
Oh yeah,
dirty. It was way too easy.
Yeah.
So let's go back to Sorcerer for a second here. So obviously one of the features is you don't need anything in your hands. You're just gonna have your bare hands slinging spells with left and right click, apparently, or something. Who knows? I actually do not know. That being said, do you think I don't? I can't wait to find out though. I'll be stalking the internal documents, waiting for an update, like a crackhead waiting for. But do you think that sort of feature will actually be a detriment in that you're losing out on a lot of potential damage or stats or whatever on those gear, on that potential gear slot or offhand and main hand gear slot? Or do you think it's not going to matter much?
I don't even care as long as it's viable and hella fun, to be honest with you.
Fair enough.
And surely they'll like tune the base damage to like, make up for that.
That makes sense. I hope the left click or whatever when your hands are empty is some semblance of like a wand like cantrip, so that you can at least throw something out like little fire bolts or something. Yeah, true.
You do get the move speed not having a weapon though. So
yeah,
that's like 100%. that's the pro there.
100%.
Sure.
So, Spuddy, I was watching your video earlier today, and you brought up, I think it was your video today. Maybe I'm mixing up other videos that I've seen, but I'm pretty sure you mentioned like, hey, the Druid has this really great thing where it has reset ability. I can go into a rat form and escape clumped up mob of enemies. I can reset myself in a fight with Spirit Walk.
Yeah, mobility.
Not even mobility, just being able to reset a fight. Like if I get smashed by a rogue as a Druid and I have Spirit Walk on, I get a chance to cast a heal over time on myself, get myself prepared for a second, and then jump back into that fight or escape. That is huge, and I love that for Druid. I think it is a game changer. It makes Druid really fun in that you have a reset. You have a chance to like get composed and actually fight back. You might still lose the fight, but at least you get 3 fucking seconds to try to figure out a plan, right? I think every class needs something similar.
Yeah, I like it. It especially for someone who had a lot of PTSD on the OC server with the the RMT rogue landmines. I swear there was like when we had a bad cheating wave a millennia ago to new gamers of the game. On my server, it felt like there was a bunch of rogues with ESP just sort of camping doors waiting for you. And that Dreamwalk, it is that second chance at life. You get landmined and you're like, oh, I'll get out of here. But the one thing that just to be like the voice of reason for some of the people that hate the Dreamwalk on the Druid, I do get their frustration because there is this little bit of cheese. So, Soma, you go to attack me. You don't know if I got Dreamwalk or not, although most Druids have it. But it's a perk, you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. You come to fight me. You're ready. You've chugged up a protection potion. You get the opening hit. I hit you. I get the opening hit. Then you hit me. But clearly, I don't know. You've got a better kit or whatever. You're so confident you're going to win this fight. But as you've hit me, I've gone into Dreamwalk and I was already swinging the second hit. So I've now got a second hit on you for free, right?
Yeah.
You can't hit me. Then I plus back, cast a heal. Yeah. And just as I come out of it, like the restores are a really good one because is it 15 seconds or not 15 seconds, 15 hit points. I think it's 15 hit points.
Restores
15 hit
30
points.
HP over 10 seconds.
30, yeah, that's it. Sorry, I've screwed up the stats.
How dare you?
No, but it's just I just know it's a lot of health for just how quickly you can get it back, right?
Yeah, it's good.
And as you're plus backing doing that, you've got healing as you're running, although slow, but you've somehow like got yourself a free hit. So I find like when in that spear compilation of my video, it's a good example of like just getting loads of kills because you always get that free hit. Not always. It just depends how the fight plays out. But I found like 70% of the time I'll get a free hit in a fight and a free heal and they're down that hit. And in this game, it's usually about who hits first and consistently keeps hitting.
Right.
So for a lot of people out there, and I'm not bitching on Druid because I love Druid, but I'm just being the voice of reason for other people. I get why some people hate it and say, because I've seen a lot of threads about nerfing it, like online, because they already took it down a second. They removed a second of it recently in the hotfix. SDF did.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys feel that way about it. Like for me, I feel like it's pretty strong, but this game's always like 1 or 2 seconds away from making things feel useless. You know, like if you nerf it too hard, you know? So
Yeah.
do you guys think it should stay or go? I was just wondering, like Jay's perspective as well, because he plays trios. Is that a pain in the ass in trios? Like on the receiving end, do you feel like, oh, I couldn't do anything about that because he just gets away for free?
Nah, I mean,
Yeah?
I don't think it's too big of a. It sounds like way more of a solo issue.
Yeah.
Because like the only time a druid's gonna be hitting you, they're in form ideally, but they do get a free
true.
out. They do get a free out, but I don't know, the whole like playing around Dreamwalk to get the extra hit thing. That's not super prevalent in trios.
Gotcha.
I do think Druid is kind of bullshit sometimes, but I mean I think that's just part of the class.
Yeah, in solos there seems to be like it past a spear build. Like there's people doing rocking Panther and Bear, but because in solos when you're mostly 1v1ing, you can trap people. In trios, trapping people isn't as prevalent. Like it happens.
Yeah.
But like if you say you're playing Goblin Caves and there's a lot of those little tight corridors or like crypts, there's certain rooms where you catch people off. You just drop a spike wall behind them and then a tree in front of them, and all of a sudden that's it. They're like, and then you just come in with the spear. So that's what I started doing because I find that fucking one hilarious.
It's fun,
but two fun to do. So that's more of a solos thing than trios. So I guess that's probably why you're not bumping into it as much because like like there's a lot of people doing spear, Dreamwalk shenanigans. Honestly, I was just curious on your take.
I think Druid is balanced really well. I know that sounds crazy, but I kill a lot of Druids. I get killed by Druids. Sometimes I have great moments on Druid, and then sometimes I switch to Rat at the wrong time and I die instantly. It's kind of a crapshoot, you know. I think that a really skilled Druid player is terrifying, but I'd rather fight a really skilled Druid than a really skilled Wizard any day. Like straight, or a really skilled like repose level rogue. Fuck that. Give me the Druid any day. Like that's just the way I look at it.
I think Druid's pretty solid right now.
I agree. Like I think it's my buddy Crazed, who I play with, that he said one nerf could be you have to switch back to human form or the Druid form before going to another animal form, and so you can't go like Panther, Chicken, Rat. You'd have to go like Panther, leap, human, into chicken, triple jump into human into rat. I personally don't like that either. I think it would really butcher the class and neuter it too much.
It would kill the class, I think.
I truly think it's in a good spot. I think that some of the stat scaling shit's a little insane, like agility and strength.
I do
for
think Druid on the high end is nuts.
Yeah, like for Bear and Panther form,
and you just two-tap everybody.
That shit on
Bear
the high
is one
end
thing
needs
I can understand.
Yeah.
Bear is like, you do insane damage, you're tanky, but you can't really move. Also, it's super awkward because you can't really go.
It's how Barbarian should have been during its Barbarian meta.
Yeah, probably a little closer to it. Not even kidding. Yeah. But like Panther is like, I don't know. I'm sure it's just because I'm bad, but playing Wizard when there's 50 Panthers a game and Rogues, it's crazy tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think some of the top end of the scaling just needs to be rounded out a bit. That's what I think it comes down to. Because it feels fine in like sub 125 lobbies, right? When people in like blues and shit, like Panthers, strong, but it's not OP.
Agi.
Yeah, it's not OP. It feels good. I feel like that top end of the scaling just needs to be brought down a couple. I was gonna say one peg, a couple pegs. I do really like the debuff duration, buff duration Spirit Walk build. Have you guys played that? That's just dumb as fuck. It's so fun. You can essentially get it to the point where Spirit Walk lasts for several seconds, and then the cooldown is like 6 seconds, and it goes right back into Spirit Walk. So you're harassing. Oh, it's so fun in trios. Like the whole point is like you go back, you stab someone with a spear, or you hit someone with your Morning Star. As soon as you get hit, you cast a bunch of spells in the back line. You back up a little bit. You go in for another hit. 6 seconds later, you're already back in Spirit Walk. You can reposition wherever you want. You can use Rat to reposition. It is insane. Like you don't have the best stats in the world because you're stacking so much debuff and buff, but the harassment potential becomes dumb. Like it's great. I don't know. Try it out. It's pretty fun.
Oh, experiment.
I mean, the reason why it works is because you can cast spells while in Spirit Walk, right? So the second you're in Spirit Walk, you're going right to Dreamfire or Restore or Natural Heal or Nature's Touching someone or whatever. It's very, very strong. It's very strong. Okay, what else was covered in the interview? I'm gonna rely on you guys a bit because I was walking around doing shit for like half
next
of it.
Wipe, rework,
They said that, really?
New boss.
Nice.
Yep.
Beautiful.
They also said I think what they said was they want to make it kind of like GC, where it's like GC has a lot of stuff to do. So they were talking about probably 2 bosses on Ruins.
I love
similar
that.
To Goblin Caves.
That map is going to be absolutely insane with Druid. Obviously, they're going to change a lot. But if they don't change a lot, it'll be insane.
Just imagine like the movement tech for Druid on Ruins, and you get to some crazy high points.
What
do
they call that bridge?
And you fucking leap off as a panther on people. Oh man, it's gonna be.
You know that spot. Soma J, so you got the bridge, and then there's that
bridge.
little mini castle.
Thing.
Yeah, and then where the death skulls are up the top.
Yeah.
Yep.
Imagine panther leaping chicken all the way across.
Yes.
Exactly. Fly out of the module.
That is exactly what I'm talking about. Like a fucking chicken panther diving you from 2 modules away off that tower, and you see this little speck flying toward you, and suddenly it's a giant fucking black cat on your face.
I can already imagine like players having what feels like a bird shit landing on them of a druid, just like what the you know what I mean? Like
just imagine when they actually have flight in the game on Ruins. It's just gonna be people flying around, launching fireballs and shit.
Yeah.
Fucking druids in owl form, fucking flapping around. It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, that'd be nuts.
I hope they put in
so
something like owl or flying for druid. It makes sense to me.
Free fly buff, so you don't get landmine as you walk in the door. It's like I ain't walking in nowhere, bro. I'm flying over the wall. That sounds really fun.
It sounds awesome. And honestly, some of the best times I had in Dark and Darker were doing like Rusty Key runs, worm runs on Ruins. Like that. Do you guys remember that era? That was so fucking fun.
Oh, yeah.
I wish every map had 2 or 3 scenarios or activities that you could partake in like that, because it was just so goddamn fun.
I hated the Ruins, but man, do I miss it. I really miss it.
Same here, man. Yeah. You know what? I don't miss the 3 dungeon concept though. I don't really miss it. I thought I was going to, but I don't really care about it anymore.
Yeah, I think it's perfect having the 2 levels.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's like a 30-minute raid, a 30-minute match. It's like, it's a good time.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Oh, we want to talk about issues, though. The biggest glaring issue, and I'm serious, they need to fix these empty lobbies. Did you know there's like 200 and some queues, and 40,000 people divided into it is like 200 per queue, or whatever, 250? Disgusting.
Just hang tight.
Hey,
The matchmaking's changing real soon.
Spuddy, you played it. Is that not what the cycle did? Because my chat has been preaching that. They had like 200 queues, and that's what really didn't help.
See, man, do you really want to start like you're about, you know, when you grab a chainsaw and you pull the fucking ripcord or the back of a bow, and you just like start it up? Do you really want to pull that cord on me? Because I will not shut the fuck up.
It's just I went like 2 days of just 12-hour sessions, just like nothing. Nobody in High Roller.
In NA.
Like, man.
In NA.
In
Oh,
NA.
this is High Roller you're
East,
referring
bro.
to. Only High Roller, right?
Yeah. No, but normals, hold on. Before we you have a go on about the High Roller thing. In normals, in smaller regions like Osh, his High Roller feels like our normals. Does that make sense?
Oh, the
That's
normals
awful.
are kind of dead sometimes as well.
That's not.
Yeah.
That's so weird. I mean, there is what, like 40,000 people playing?
Yeah, there's average 40,000 players. So that comes down to a systemic level like design flaw. Well, not flaw, just the way they're handling their game design. Yeah.
The player base just like 8x'd.
It's Q funnel issue.
It feels like the exact same thing, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely a player funnel issue with the queues.
I can go on a mini rant.
It's changing soon, I promise. So
here's the deal, right? It comes down to, which you all know, it's PvP like gear. And people don't like getting gear diffed. But people like that dopamine of, oh, I've got a really good build. But they can't have people, at least it's not the same in High Roller. Anything goes in High Roller, but in normals, a lot of people complain about getting gear diff because most people are average. That's not me saying everyone's dog shit or I'm an elitist or I think I'm better than people. It's just most people are average. It just is the thing.
It's the definition of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, we all know that as soon as the Steam thing happened, you know, it was like old school, almost like old school normals where like people couldn't really do much with their gear. So they swapped that, they changed that around. And then these new Steam free-to-play players started feeling it, all right? And then you get that little inkling after that first week where they could play the game like everyone else. It was like, oh, I hate getting gear diff, bro. And all the threads started cropping up on Reddit and shit. So then they obviously started catering to that. And it kind of felt like 2 years of experimenting with the I'd say the early access players, right, for Steam, for everything to sort of just go ass up again with the Steam release. So like back to how it was. So now they're sort of somewhere in the middle and they've got a whole bunch of different gear brackets. Ultimately, it's always going to, I know they're doing something and maybe they'll blow all of our minds away, but unless they fundamentally change how the game operates and even squeeze gear even more, people are always going to complain and want brackets because they don't want to get gear diff. Like that's why all these like games like battle royales popped off because there was like RNG and someone would get a toothpick and you'd get a tactical nuke or the other way around, a packet of socks and they've got a double barrel shotgun. That's just the start game. But overall, everyone was the same. Everyone had the same bullshit RNG and then you just point and click simulator because the TTK was low in a lot of those games. Anyway, I'm going on a massive tangent. What I'm getting at is they did this to themselves by making the game. I know they're not going to change things, and I'm just saying this because I've said it on my stream a few times. They made the game about PvP gear and not PvE gear. So I think Terrence said it just then with one peg. He's been a voice to SDF and the team saying, I want the classes and the game to have a baseline. Everyone's like, Barbarian operates like Barbarian. He does this damage with this skill. He does this with that. Done. He doesn't get like this purple item, then that purple item that totally scales that and makes it 300 damage instead of 70 damage, right? Mm-hmm. That's where I think Terrence is going with it. And that's how I think the game would be even more popular. But I know they're not going to change it because it's SDS love child and he has this vision for it and that's cool. It's just we're going to be in this situation because this is how they're designing it, PvP gear. And ultimately, even though people love the power fantasy of having the gear, they don't like getting gear diffed, and then they get salty and they dribble out over time because they hate getting just chewed up in the game. So PvP gear creates this system of having to have all these brackets. The more brackets you have, the more mini games you have. So right now in the game, we have it like if most people are playing normals, as we saw or listened to in the one peg cast, because SDF's like just jokingly saying, don't tell them, right? Keep quiet, quick cut, because it's evident that everyone's in normals. And in normals, you have 3 game modes. You have under 25, which is no gear. Then you've got 124, like 25 to 125 gear, 24 gear score. Then 125 plus, which is basically like high roller without the uniques. So you now have 3 games in one mode, 3 queues, right? Then you got the solo, duo, trios. Mm-hmm. So I've done the math with high roller and everything. We have 12 queues. That's insane for a game with 40,000 average players, 20,000 in the dungeon, right? Now, you go to smaller regions that aren't NA, like OCE, if you're not playing 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., every other, like the game feels friggin' dead. Like it's almost empty a lot of the time because it's 12 queues. If let's say on average, we've got like in 40,000 people playing the game, and there's 1,000 in the OCE region, a couple Malaysian players, Thai, mostly Australian and New Zealand, which is OCE. That 1,000, which is not, it's probably more like 500, which is amazing for this game because there's so much competition. That can easily feel like you're just playing with 4 people because of the 12 queues. It's nuts. So the way that they could have resolved this in the past is done what I think Terrence wanted, which is everyone has a baseline class. Think like Apex Legends, although we don't want to make it, we're not talking about making it Battle Royale because gear would still matter, but it's a different thing. I'll just quickly end the tangent and then I'll STFU, right? You make the gear about PvE and then you've got all these awesome quests and all these crazy sub-bosses that require juicy gear to kill the sub-boss. So imagine I've got to go to the MILF Mountains, right? And in the MILF Mountains, there's a succubus queen, right? But without being, I can't kill the succubus queen, right? To I don't know, to get the dairy milk quest drop, right? Whatever the hell it is, right? Okay, right? Just bear with me, stay with me, all right? Essentially, you would need 20% defense on this armor for succubus, and maybe a 50% debuff buff to protect you from the debuffs of the sub boss area. So you couldn't go into this area. It's the thing about like a hazmat suit from like Stalker or something. You could not go to this boss arena because you didn't have this thing that protected you, maybe a ring or something that protects you from this aura that screws you in that area. So you're gating certain things by questing to unlock these things to then get this thing to go do that. And it gives people impetus to grind and have fun and do things while the PvP is still balanced because you've just made this awesome thing that's an objective to do in the game where gear does matter, but it doesn't completely fuck all the PvP balance and make people angry at each other because PvE never cares that you just one-tapped it. Players do. So essentially, that solution, if they'd done that like 6 months ago or a year ago, they wouldn't be chasing the tower. And that's, I'm kind of bored of talking about it. So I just, in my recent video, not to plug it, but in my recent video on YouTube, I literally just, you know what I mean? I basically talked about that with the meta stuff and that they're always going to be chasing their tail until forever, unless they do something like that or squeeze it even more. And I don't think SDF and the team's going to change it because they've spent so long making the identity about PvP gear. I think they're going to basically just maybe squeeze things just tighter and tighter over time to the point where it might almost feel pointless, but not. Anyway, the floor is yours, Senator. I yield.
You made a lot of good points. I don't know if they would try to create a certain progression path where you have to get a certain item to be able to do a certain thing in the dungeon for a certain boss. I don't know if it would ever get that deep, but yeah. I do agree that gear should not... I think gear currently just feels like gear. I don't think it feels like PvE or PvP gear. It just feels like gear, to me anyway. I think, and I've said this many, many, many times over the course of the year and a half we've been doing this podcast, but I think the gear needs less damage and stat pumping shit on it, and it needs more stuff like extra damage to demons or X% less damage taken from traps or
that's basically like that PvE stuff. That's basically what I was saying.
Exactly. Yeah. I think it should move in that direction. Because right now, gear just feels like gear. It doesn't feel like PvP or PvE gear. It just feels like gear that I need to be competitive in general in the game. But they
tickled on it. The silver weapon. Sorry to interrupt you, but the silver weapons, doesn't it have undead bonuses or something?
Yes, it does. Yeah. So I would like to see those kind of stats just become commonplace in the item pool in general. Like, these are the type of affixes that you can get on your items. You can get extra damage to beasts. Maybe there's like a -5% cooldown reduction or something that could pop up. Maybe it scales from like a 0.5% to 5%, depending on the gear level. Maybe you can get a piece of gear that has like -10% damage taken from all traps or something like that. That kind of shit would be really great. I think you would feel way more powerful. You'd move around the dungeon more quickly. You would feel like you have actually gotten a meaningful, significant upgrade as you're clearing the dungeon. And then when you finally meet another player, you have that baseline feel, right? So if gear all became PvE gear, which is, I think, is that basically what you were saying? Just make all gear PvE gear? Because if that's what you're saying, I'm on board.
Sort of, like, yes. Basically, yeah. Like, I know it sounds boring, but like, if every class has a good baseline, where every class can do something against someone or something, right? But there's insane PvE bosses or this or that need certain gear for you to survive. I just feel like they're just not, like, you don't have to segregate your player base into 12 queues. And that has lots of side effects. Like, it can make the game feel numb and boring to a lot of people, and then you bleed out players. So as an OCE player, I've played lots of niche games in the past. This isn't strictly niche, but it's borderline niche, right? Because it does have some mainstream popularity. But I've played niche games. I played Quake, right? Which is now a niche game. Or is it it's a freaking dead game now? Yeah. But like, I played Quake, And the arena FPS scene dribbled on for a little while there up until probably 2019, 2020. It was a good couple years there where there was still a few thousand people playing it. But a few thousand people, like around the world, like 2,000 to 3,000 active players. When you go to my region, that's like 50 dudes. Yeah. And that's like tumbleweed. And this game, even though it has so many people playing it, it feels like I'm playing Quake. Like it's got 50 dudes playing it, you know? And that's not good, because what happens is over time, you see other people go, I'm going to go play a League of Legends. There's a party there. Everyone's popping off. It's
that
all good.
Water starts to spin down the drain.
Yeah.
Slowly.
Yeah. Because it's like, you got to remember, a big part of like multiplayer gaming now, it's also a social thing and it's trendy. Yeah. You know, so if things seem quiet and it's not, you know, it's not popping, people go where the action is, even if they don't really like the game. I know people that play with people and they're fucking garbage at the game they're playing, or they hate it. But it's social gaming. They're playing with their friends who maybe one or two of them are having a great time, but it's the buzzing thing. Like if you remember PUBG, I was playing PUBG with a bunch of people that were absolutely, like, they just lobby dead. But they were in Discord and it was the popular game for 6 months and everyone was having a good time and wanted to be among it, because you press that Q button, instantly a game of 90 people in a lobby. It was more like, I think 40 or 50. But you know what I mean? Like it was instantly, it was just popping. Yeah. So I have a lot of experience with this as an OCE gamer, because a lot of modern games in the last 6 to 10 years, they're not server browser based, they're lobby based. And in games with lobbies, it can feel, especially when you're waiting for other people to join, it can feel so slow and boring. And they're already doing this to this game unnecessarily, because it's imposed by the fact that they've had to try and make the game feel fair to a lot of parties, you know, like 4 or 5 different brackets of people. Whereas if we were all mostly equal, because people that get like skill diff, like I can go into under 25 with no gear, I'll still skill diff people. You know what I mean? And those people are going to be salty no matter what, the people that get skill diffed, right? But people getting gear diffed, I can get pissed about getting gear diffed. You guys have seen it over my videos over the years where, like the landmine era, like it was like I had sand in my ass crack about that for a good couple months. You know, I seemed like, you know, a very angry old man, but that's because that's how that made me feel, you know? And getting gear diffed it makes that people feel that way, even if it's subconscious. Because I think Jay will know this, because he's like me, played the game a lot, and you know that they've squished the gear so much, Jay, that especially on the high, like there's some items that will make you feel frigging juiced. But overall, it's not like the past where you just quickly stacked a bunch of damage items and you're immediately god tier. Like it's been squished a lot. Like you should be able to take on most people if they're just a couple items above you, right? But the average person doesn't know that. They just see purple and legendaries and they think, fuck this. You know, like I just got gear diffed immediately, because it's just the way it looks, and right?
That's
on
just
that
like
end.
a knowledge gap, though.
Yeah, that's a knowledge gap. But you can't, like, if you're the lead developer of this and you see some players leaving because they feel that way, it's hard to inform them that they're wrong. They're just going to leave. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
So it's like, it's one of those things where, you know, I'm still having fun with the game. I want everyone to know that. I'm still buzzing. But my concern is that's why I made that note at the end of my video that they're going to be stuck in a bit of a loop, chasing their tail. And that's what I'm worried about, because we've seen that for 2 years. It's not as bad as it used to be, but it's still there. It's that chase of we're trying to make this feel balanced for people, when by definition, PvP gear is about unbalancing the fights. If you think about it, that's literally what it is. So yeah, I'll keep playing the game until it's like, you know, I can't get queues. But my concern is they'll keep chasing this. And I'm actually going to throw it to you two, and I guess the rest of your chat on your live streams. What do you think they can and should do? Like, should it go like you were saying before, Soma, which is leaning towards what I was saying, which is like just make like PVE gear, like less of the damage, true damage and all that kind of stuff, but more like, you know, 20% zombie damage, 20% protection off of this. Or
yes, that for sure.
Another system, you know, like what's another system? What do you think?
I mean, I've said it before. I think ditch HR and create some sort of, but I don't know how to do it because I'm not a professional game developer that knows how to design systems. I just know what I like. And previously in other games, I really liked the Diablo 2 difficulty system, which is normal, nightmare, hell. I'm not a fan of HR. I just don't think it's very fun. I wish that the devs could figure out some semblance of a Diablo 2 type difficulty system. I don't know what that is. I know what I want, but I don't know how to make it, if that makes sense.
Do you think HR could be the hell level? Although that's weird to chase with the queues and the stats. But like if they got rid of, I don't know, they never even intended to have leaderboards. Like if you go back to the playtest, it was just something they did for fun. Like they could still take that out of the game. I don't know if that's going to piss off all the nerds, the elites of the game. Although I say that's literally the 1% of the game player base. Like, if you took out this, I'm not saying do this. I'm just, just trying to like cook here with you guys. You could take out HR. So now you've taken out 3 queues, all right? So you don't have, it's back to 9 queues. It's not 12, all right? You could take out HR, the leaderboards, which not all of it, but there's lots of cheaters and bullshit and cheese on there anyway. Like, I don't think a lot of people take that shit seriously as some kind of indication of game skill, right? So you get rid of the leaderboards, you get rid of that. You still have the skins that were like earned, but they're like through some kind of borderline, not a battle pass, but like something like that. That's like a season thing in just the overall game. Like you queue into normals, you queue into the game, not normals. It's not even called normals anymore. You queue into the game. You're getting those skins and those quests and all that kind of crap, but you've removed HR. But everything that was HR, whether it's all the crazy nightmare stuff, the bosses, that's literally the hell dungeons of each map. And
yeah, that could work. Or what if as the dungeon progressed, as the time progressed, at certain moments in the dungeon, at certain key timed moments, let's say if a dungeon's 15 minutes long, every 5 minutes, the difficulty ups a bit. So 5 minutes into the dungeon, you're going to start seeing a few more red skeletons. 10 minutes into the dungeon with 5 to go, you're going to start seeing a lot more nightmare mobs. And it's going to get harder the longer you're in. But at first, it's kind of easy. It's just a bunch of white mobs.
If you're talking about stuff spawning in, that makes things interesting with like the more keeping things fresh. I'm surprised they haven't done things like random entities in the Unreal Engine spawning things in on time as like random things that may chase down squads or players. Because right now, like me in solos, Jay in trios, you solos, duos, trios, whatever you're queuing in, outside of the PvP, the experience is pretty much always the same with PvE.
Exactly. So
I'm surprised I haven't done anything about that yet.
Randomize it a bit, make things a little bit more difficult as things progress in the dungeon time-wise. Someone said Timmy won't survive. Well, when Timmy realizes that shit's getting hard 9 minutes in, he's got a blue. He can fucking leave. He just practiced for 9 minutes. Go drop your junk off at the collector. Come back in. When you're starting to feel more confident, maybe you go down 20 runs later. Like, you know what? We're 11 minutes in. I just killed a couple of nightmare mobs. Maybe we can actually go to Inferno this time. I feel like that would actually kind of work. I don't know. I literally just thought of this idea 48 seconds ago, so it's not fully fleshed out. I'm just cooking and having fun over here. But I would like to see something like that instead of multiple queues, HR mode. That I never touch HR. The only time I touch it is when it's time to grind out to attempt a demigod run to get the rewards, and that's it. And I literally will throw on a podcast or listen to music and just grind that out like it's a job. And I want it to be done. I actually don't even enjoy it. I'd rather just be playing the normal game in normal mode with my boys. Instead, I'm trying to, grind through this thing that I don't even want to do to get some reward. Like I said, I don't know what the system should be. And I think that it's going to be difficult to find out what that system, the correct system is, because you are right. I think that Iron Mace has put themselves in a position where there is going to be some tail chasing a bit. I think that Iron Mace is smart, and I think the devs are good at what they do, and they'll figure it out. But I do think it's going to be a bit. One saving grace here is that the matchmaking change is coming, and I mean like real soon, like in the next week or two. I hope the matchmaking change is solid. I hope it works.
That's my number one problem.
What?
It's just a shame. It's like what Spuddy was saying. It's like you want to play the game, but there's no game to be played. Is what it's been feeling like for the past fucking week.
What do you mean by no game to be played?
Just dead lobby.
Because no one.
Like 6 hours straight. It's just nothing going on. Just like,
because I'd say
you're left no choice except hop off.
We're PvP guys, like PvE. Not to sound like we're the elites of this game, bro. You wouldn't understand. But like PvE is like, if I want to do a PvE, like the PvE is not interesting enough to make it difficult for people like Jay, right? Like, yeah, if you go into like HR, there's those weird encounters where you might get stuck in a corner because some guy like distracted you or some shit, and you get killed by like a nightmare. What's her name? Harpy, you know?
Sure.
And she queefs you off the map. You know, you're off a ledge and you just get like pushed right into the abyss, right? But other than that, like most of the time, it's just business as usual. It's like, okay, that's that thing spawns there, stab. That thing spawns over there. I stand here, I do this. So PvP is where the actual brain kicks in and the turbines start going, because
that's right.
That you can't predict what that person's going to do. So if Jay's got lobbies that are just constantly with one or two other dudes and he can farm them quite easily, his brain's not really active. So he's just sitting there just like, hey, thanks Pussy Slayer 69 for the $1,000 donation. Dead. Okay, let's queue in again. Yeah, Johnny, yeah, cheers for the 10 subs. Dead. All right, let's queue in again. You know what I mean? Like it just becomes like automatic, you know? And he's just doing like it's autopilot. And that I minus the $1,000 donation from Pussy Slayer 69, I'm in that autopilot too most of the time. Not always. Because I'm on Osh, I'm literally out here with a calculator going, okay, at this time of the day, at 7:20 p.m. at 124, just calculating the airspeed at 124 gear score, I can get 4 people in that lobby. Okay, quick, go. And then I've got 4 people. And you know what I mean? Like that's how I'm playing the game right now. So it's not like I'm just naturally queuing in, having a good time as a gamer / streamer. I'm literally out here with a calculator trying to like just find players. So I totally empathize with you, Jay.
I do think the other huge thing, if they just randomize the map, I think that would fix so many problems, because it's so scripted. Everyone knows all the spawns, they know all the routes. It ends up being third-party central.
There will be some changes there too. Yeah, there will be some changes there too.
I think if they did proper matchmaking, which does then raise another issue, like what if you don't find like a full lobby after 10 minutes in OCE, right? Like they needed like a failsafe for that. So I think if they just had proper matchmaking and randomize the maps, or really they could even they have to randomize the maps. There's no other with 2 layouts.
I've noticed, as you said that
alone would be amazing for the game.
I've noticed something, a cultural thing in the game community. Tell me, gentlemen, have you found that you are now having to queue specific maps just because everyone else avoids certain maps? So then those maps just feel dead or pointless? No, you haven't so much?
It's just ice caves. It's just ice caves.
Yeah, ice caves. If I queue ice caves,
is fine,
empty.
Crypts is fine. Yeah.
It's like people will wait that 2-3 minutes and be like, nah, fuck that. I'm not losing my gear to a kobold or whatever in there. Like the average Joe.
It's just a map problem. It's really it.
Yeah.
It's just like crypts and goblin caves are just so much. They have so much more to offer.
It's funny. Well, ice caves used to be my favorite map. Now it's my least favorite map. It's so funny how that happened.
I still love it.
I like it,
I don't like
but
it
not
as
much
empty.
as it used to be. I don't have issues finding people in my games. I play 25 plus norms, pretty much. That's it. 25 to 124 or 125 plus if I have a good kit. That's really all I play. Trios almost 95% of the time now. The occasional duo, the occasional solo while I'm waiting for people. And I really don't find, I don't think it's hard to find players. Every lobby is almost always filled up. But I'm playing US West, US East in norms. So I know it's a different scenario for me, but no, I honestly am not having trouble finding players. Really,
I missed. You know what I miss on that map? The gold pile.
Yeah, gold pile was fun.
It literally created like impetus for everyone to push the middle, and you'd find fights there.
It was fun.
And there's actually interesting fights. So I know they wanted to like make people go to do the Wyvern, but you have to be Jay or Seriously Soapy or SpudHunter with like 500 to 1,000 viewers, everyone Q sniping you to access the Wyvern.
Yeah.
So that's why they removed the gold pile.
I think that'll change.
But I hope they add something back there, because the gold chest isn't enough impetus for people to push that. Like making that middle room a war zone was actually really cool. Like in hindsight, It was so much fun. So I don't know, SDF or Terrence. Terrence, if you, he does watch these, doesn't he? Not all of them. I hope he does. If you're watching, please do something. Like it'd be such a simple fix. Like you don't need like a 10-man team for like 4 months doing it. Like just put it in. Yeah, put it back in. Yeah. Like, yeah, there was people teaming or RMT farmers, but you still get that with the bosses and all sorts of shit anyway.
Right.
So yeah, it was cool. I miss it.
So
it all.
Go ahead.
That also falls to like the old Tarkov thing. Just because like there's people cheating, we'll just call it, you know, doesn't mean you should ruin the game for everyone else. If like teaming for the gold pile is such a big deal.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not like you can get uniques and shit anymore.
Yeah.
At least not artifacts. And let people pull a gold coin chest. Why not? Fuck it. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay.
Ultra rare to hunt for.
So we talked about multiple queues. We talked about HR. Let's talk about Arena. Is Arena going to kill HR? Because I think it is in some way. I think HR is already pretty dead, but I think Arena is going to put the final nail in the coffin.
HR is not dead. It's really the queuing problem. Because like Ken and I will play for hours on end with dead lobbies, and then you pull up another HR stream, packed fucking lobby. You know what I mean? So it's like, how are we in a dead pregame lobby, and this other one's completely filled to the brim? You know, it's just a flaw. We don't even know how dead HR is. It's impossible to gauge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just to say one thing first.
Sure.
I don't know. I don't think Arena would kill it, to be honest.
Interesting.
My PTSD kicks in as an OCE player. All I'm thinking of is, another queue. But that's I didn't even think about the game mode. I'm just thinking, oh fuck, another queue.
Right.
That's what I'm worried about. It could be the best thing ever, but it's another queue. You know? Like, because that like, I know they said they're trying to not make a Tarkov Arena where it's an external game and they want to interconnect it. But I'm worried that it will be something that I will just queue and make certain things like High Roller or the rest of the game dead. Because I'm just queuing to go fight players. I'm barely doing quests or anything. I'm enjoying PvP interactions and fighting. That's what I live for. So for me, that sounds like, oh, here you go, Soma. You saw the end of that video, right? The 1v1 with the cleric, the druid and the cleric in my video. That would probably be what Arena is. Did you see how much dopamine I got at the end of that fight? So imagine you're the average player, or even me, and you can just get that on tap like it's heroin. Like just a bunch, you know what I mean? Like you can just keep queuing into that experience. That's what I'll do. So then the rest of the game will feel dead. Yeah, but it would be great. But then what's the rest of the game for?
The rest of the game is to get the gear to go in to get that dopamine burst. And I think that you need the regular dungeon to go get your kit that you're going to wade into Arena with.
Like people like Jay and I, who can print money in like a couple days with the shit bucket on stream, we can just do that all day. And I bet that not even non-streamers, there's gamers out there, they'll play for 4 or 5 hours a night with their trio buddies and come out with like 10, 20,000 gold, and they're set for like 4 days of playing Arena. Like it's not, you don't need that many expensive kits. And if you're winning in the Arena a lot, you're getting their gear. So there'll be like an infinite loop of just, you know, being in the Arena, unless it's that punishing. Like you,
Arena
like it's
got some
a weekend thing. By the way. Just like I hate that idea of it not being just like open 24/7, but you know they could make it have like a lot of hype to it, just to have it like as every weekend Arena is open type thing. So at least you have another like technically gold, I guess, grind for, and not have to worry about the queues.
I don't like timeout stuff like that, like locked out.
I don't either.
Like
imagine I had it.
Well, no, there's like medical workers, there's service workers, like.
I was just gonna say, if you can't get to that time.
Yeah, like people work on weekends. Like I know a lot of people whose weekend is Monday and Tuesday. So that would suck, and they play Dark and Darker. Imagine they get off work Sunday night right as the arena's closing, and they never get a chance to play. That would fucking blow. But I have the concern for the extra queue. Like it's already done I'm a little worried too, to be honest.
I think they need to like severely change the queuing thing.
Do you guys think that marketplace is a detriment to the game? Do you think being able to just drop 6,000 gold on an amazing kit in 10 minutes and jumping right back into the game as a god is bad or good?
I think it's bad.
So do I.
What are they gonna do? The lightning is way out of the bottle. Yeah.
No, not necessarily.
I think here's the deal. I do like it, but I do see it's like pros and cons. The cons being you get people being able to like metagame immediately. I know that build that I want. I can 2-tap someone with this build quickly, search, bang, I'm in. Now I have the Terminator build, right? That's a con, because if there is some bullshit build that people can abuse, say on Cleric, you're going to see lots of it. It's not going to be random, like every now and then. It's going to be most of the time. So then you got that. Then also, just that kind of like, you do, like, you know, when you're searching the dungeon, you just randomly find things and you finally, over time, build up like this cool kit. The novelty of that wears off because you can just, all right, I'll just quickly farm a bunch of this bullshit and then immediately buy that thing. So that kind of like journey getting to that cool
it becomes
kit.
What's the highest gold per hour?
Yeah, basically, yeah, that's literally it. So, you know, I don't advocate to get rid of it because I understand when they put it in, but at the same time, it's kind of like taking a bit of the magic out of the game. But I never liked the trading overall.
Yeah.
But here's the deal: they'd have to get rid of trading completely because you can still kind of do that with old school trading, but it takes a lot of work and a lot of sitting there, and that's why people wanted a marketplace, because it just took too much time. So it's either like, in my head, it's like either keep,
you spend the hours, or you have a team of market analysts doing it for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like a huge advantage to those who have that.
Yeah. I think if the marketplace was, someone just said basically what I was going to say. If it was everything except gear, or maybe and also player crafted gear. If that was all that was available, that'd be great. Because I think self-found and like pushing that is actually good for the game. It leads to retention. It leads to people enjoying their class and their character a bit more because they have to earn their power, right? It makes engaging in PvP something that you potentially would second guess. You're gonna like want to really think through your engagements because you had to really slog and work hard to get your set of gear that you're wearing. I don't think it's good to be able to just empty my piggy bank and just have like a awesome set of gear 10 minutes after I've just lost the awesome set of gear and jump right back in. I think some people will probably like that. I get it. People want some convenience and some time cuts on stuff, but I think it leads to quicker burnout. I just threw, 50K away on a few sets. It was fun for a couple of hours, but I died. I'm just getting off. Whereas if that was gone and you were just grinding, like, I'm going to fucking grind out and find and craft the best possible kit, and I'm going to be really careful with it. Oh, I fucking just lost everything. I got to go back to the grind. I think that's a good thing for the game. Me personally. Do you guys agree or disagree?
I think SSF has a whole world of problems, potentially.
That would open up a whole world of problems?
Yeah, like people who don't play that often for like starters.
I feel like, you know what?
I feel like you can find gear pretty quickly in game though, right?
True.
I don't think it's that hard to find gear. Honestly,
there's never a perfect solution. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Well,
there is never a perfect solution. It's the one of lesser evils.
All right, let's put it this way. Do you want to spend 20 minutes scrolling through the marketplace trying to find the perfect kit, or would you rather spend 20 minutes in the dungeon trying to find a kit that's probably not going to be as good as the kit you're going to get on the marketplace, but at least you'll be playing the game. Maybe you'll kill Timmy. Maybe you'll kill a Jay Griffey along the way. You'll get out with your buddies. You'll have a good laugh for 20 minutes instead of hunched over the marketplace for 20 minutes finding a gear set instead. Which is more fun? Like, what would you rather do?
Being in the dungeon's more fun. Yeah. However, before you do the gotcha, bitch, right? It's the reason why they put these brackets in is because there was people with crazy builds fucking on people.
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of those things where, yeah, you'd love to do that, but if you've got Jay Griffey coming around with these massive nuts bouncing between his thighs running through the dungeon, and then you bump into him while you've got Pocket Fluff and he's got the, Turbo Blaster 3000, you're going to feel like, dude, I had no chance. Iron Mace, I had no chance. So the marketplace helps put you in that position to like, okay, I have an entry level. I don't have 10,000 gold, but I've got 1,000 gold to work with. I can buy some fast pants, a good spear, and now I may be able to have a chance against the guy with the Turbo Turkey Blaster 3000. You know what I mean? So that's how I perceive that. What you're saying, like that's how I have to use the market to do that experience. as it currently stands. You know, if you're not in under 25s or under 124, although at 124 you'd still want some gear because people have min-maxed that like crazy. You should see some of the gear that people bring into 124. It's freaking hilarious.
You know,
I'm one of those people.
At the end of the day, I will say I think gear is fairly balanced, and if
it's much better.
I think all roads maybe just lead to squish the gear more, but then I don't know. I don't think there's really an answer for any of that. Here's one. Fuck the brackets. Put the 1 to 15 lobbies back in. No. Keep the 0 to 25s or whatever, or at least allow 0 to green gear. You know, maybe something like that. Maybe just reweight the green gear scores.
Yeah, I think that's something that can help.
And then cap it. Just maybe no epics and normals. Just as like a starting point. 1, you're deleting 3 queues immediately. And 2, you're pushing people in a high roller.
It's not bad.
I don't see where any of this goes in a good direction.
That's what I was about to say. The problem is, it's just all we're doing is splitting up the player base more and more, where you're getting what you're experiencing, empty lobbies. That's why this is a problem.
That condenses it though. That eliminates an entire queue and it forces people in high roller. That's like a double-edged solution right there.
Yeah, I got you, but you still have that a little bit. Like it's still there in the overall package, unless So
I'm saying leave the 0 to 25s. Make it 25 to no purples. You know what I mean? Boom, immediately eliminated 3 times 3 times 8.
Yeah, true.
And queues immediately off the top. And that's fine. People are going to min-max the blues, so be it.
Right.
They're already doing that regardless.
Right.
But there is no incentive to play HR. Considering
the only incentive is artifacts. I want to swing my cinder at something. That's it. That's the only incentive.
Yeah, and farming them. Using them and farming
them. That's
it.
Yeah.
That's already such like a low percentage player base even does anyways.
Exactly.
Grinding for the skins is an incentive, but do you think it's an incentive enough, gentlemen?
Depends on.
That's literally all there is.
Depends on the reward.
Golden Dragon dildo skin for the spear.
I'm in.
Demigod.
It's
got like a tongue coming out of it.
Oh,
it's
100%.
literally just a scuff battle pass. Just call it what it is. It really is just a scuff battle pass.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It's a good system, you know. It's like you are told to play the game and you get rewards like this that are exclusive. That's a good system. There's nothing wrong with it.
Jay, you just reminded me of something. I'm sorry to go on another tangent, guys.
No, go for it.
Saying scuff battle pass. You are technically Iron Mace now. So even if you're not inside their office, all right? I need to pass this on to you to talk to Terrence. I feel, and this is, so to the audience watching, I am not one of those guys where like, I need more skins, bro. I need more microtransactions. It's not that, all right? So we've avoided pay to win in this game as much as possible. I know there's a couple stats on the skins, but there's debuffs and buffs, right? So essentially, they've released on Steam, big wave of players, a lot stuck around, but a lot left as well. But some of those that left, they could have made a little bit of extra money because, you know, people always buy skins, even if they're not thinking properly and they like the FOMO thing. They didn't really set up their store to really, it's just there in the top right, little tucked away. And the kind of, I don't feel like the menu of it's really enticing and there's no discounts and all that kind of shit. It's just sort of like, oh, here's that $50 orc skin. Do you want it or not? All right. They should have like a little tab inside the top right, or like just inside the middle of the menu, top right, like a carousel of, not to go full Apex Legends because I hate that in every game where it's like 50% off this, 95% batteries included, like just shit everywhere, right? Just advertising stuff, but just a little thing, right? Advertising. Okay, this week, like dude, exactly like Helldivers did it, just their system where like each week they've got like a discount on this. This is the discount. Bang, it's right there. Do you want that skull torch? Instead of being $10, it's now $2 or $3 or whatever's viable for them. Bang, and it's there, right? And add more skins. Like the half of it's just shit from 12 months ago, right? They missed a beat. Like I think someone did a Reddit thread where there should have been like a little dance emote for the rat or something like that.
Oh yeah.
They would have printed money. And I'm thinking for the longevity of the game, more money for them means servers keep going, more server locations or more staff, more assets to the game, whatever. I'm just thinking about them making more money so they can do this 10-year plan, because every super fan of the game and us know they got a 10-year plan. So yeah, I don't know. They got to do that.
I promise you, this is something that I agree with and that I've flagged. I'm with you. I would like to see, like, I've been cooking up some cool ideas for the store that I think people would really like. Like, imagine, and this is just my own ideas, like on the podcast. This is not like official Iron Man stuff, by the way. This is just me cooking as a nerd. But imagine eventually when people can create their own tavern, you know, like the Gathering Hall is about to be like a social gathering space, right? Where you can like VoIP in the tavern. Well, eventually, imagine like a player can just start their own tavern and people can come in and like join their VoIP lobby and like hang out and duel and hit a target dummy, practice their builds. Imagine people that want to open up their taverns and do that social shit. What if they had tavern skins in the store? What if you could, like, for $20 buy the Valhalla Drinking Hall tavern skin, or the Tiki Bar, or the fucking Ice Bar, or the fucking Irish pub, or the British pub in England, or like, you know, different skins and styles of pubs. I think that would be amazing. Can you imagine that shit? I think
there's heaps of awesome. There's heaps of awesome ideas like that. They got to capitalize on it at the right timing, is what I'm saying.
Yes.
So when they do that, so let's say next major update is in a month and a half, or 2 months, or 3 months, whatever their timeline is. That update, when they bring ruins back and whatever they do, if they do some Twitch event like drops or whatever the hell they do to promote it, and you get that another wave like Tarkov always has, like that next wave of new players. They need to capitalize on that for themselves, because I'm not gaining it out. This is not gameplay stuff. I'm just saying to them, they're missing out on money. Because if they've got something that's on that menu saying, hey, Golden Dragon dildo skin, 30% off, go grab your mum's credit card, they're making money so they can keep making this game. I feel like there's probably like $100,000 or $200,000 that's been left on the table. No joke, with this big update. 100%. Like, they just missed out on so much money with their store. They don't have to be aggressive and like scummy.
It's not, like, to be completely honest, it's not even about missing. It's like the capability was not possible. Like, the rush just to get to Epic and Steam almost killed it. Almost killed the team. Like, they're like the push to barely make it onto Steam and barely make it to Summer Game Fest was such a marathon. And like, people had to like take a couple days off after that. It was like sleep at the office, hump, work hard to get to just this thing. And they finally got to that point. And obviously there's stuff on the roadmap internally that the devs want to work on. But right now the priority is, let's just make stuff for people to play. I don't even think
that's what I'm saying. Like,
so I'm with you. Yeah, stuff like matchmaking. Yeah, exactly. Stuff like get a new class in the game, stuff like that. I'm with you. I think that the store needs a bit of an overhaul. It needs to be highlighted a bit better, but not in an annoying way. Like Fortnite, for instance. You log into Fortnite and you get hit by a fucking like rotating carousel of like 3 skins. This one's 30, this one's 20, this one's 10. You have 80 seconds to choose before it goes away forever. You're like, whoa, okay, this is a little intense.
Yeah.
Like,
I cancer, but you're aware. Because I feel like most people are not aware. You know, it's not there. Because here's an example. I'll shut up about it. But like, on my stream, I bought, to support the devs, I bought that Skulls torch, and I still get to this day, people keep going, bro, where'd you get that? Was that a quest thing? I'm like, no, it's in the shop. Like, I just bought it. So I know there's a problem because people keep asking me on my live stream, how did you get that torch?
That's bad. You know? That's bad. Yeah. That's good to know. I hope that IM pivots to doing more cool stuff in the shop. I think it'll happen eventually when there's more people hired and it's a bigger priority, but I'm with you on that. I'm with you. So before we move over to Q&A for a bit, Spuddy, give us your high-level quick take on the state of the game overall in general, and then we'll go to Q&A. How you feeling about the game? I know we've hit several different topics tonight, and we've kind of gone all over the place, but let's hear your thoughts overall.
I think the game's in a really good state, but if you want to hear more in-depth thoughts on it, I have a new video out on my YouTube. Nah, just kidding.
No, it's a great video. You guys should watch it. It's legitimately good.
No, I was just being a dick. Sorry to plug on your stream, Jay. It's a hashtag ad.
Hey, you're a podcast co-host now. You get to plug every week.
Yeah. No, I'm selling some soap as well on the side. No, I what do you call it? No, so I did state it in my video. There's a big conceptual talk about metas and loops about chasing tails, about balance and stuff. But the overall experience, I think, is really, really good. I think the game's the best it's ever been. There's just the matchmaking issues, the brackets. That's the biggest ball ache right now. And there's always going to be some little balance issues as long as it's not full-blown cancer. The cleric can feel that way at times in certain scenarios and builds. And that's been evident. I watch through clips of the game community and I see Repose and Jay's clips come up a lot. You haven't seen my video, Jay, but I featured a video of you where you had the Terminator music playing in the background and you were just rolling with the cleric with a torch and just rolling through people. That just shouldn't, even though I understand you got buffed out of the wazoo with Bard and a bunch of other dudes behind you, that just shouldn't be physically possible. It's insane.
I agree.
So
it's broken. Yeah.
So that's an issue. Druid's a little bit overtuned in certain scenarios. So I feel like Druid and Cleric need to be looked in-ish. But ish on the Druid, Cleric needs to be looked in. But other than that, I think the game's really great and fun. Like anytime you ever see me like have like the dead inside look on stream, even like 2 hours into a stream instead of like 12 hours, is just the queue system and the lobbies feeling like tumbleweed. Because unlike you guys in NA, I literally have to wait for the full 3 minutes every time because that's what they've done to it. Yeah. So and you're waiting 3 minutes and then you only get 1 or 2 other people. And it's just kind of, it's just kind of,
win out of the sales, bro.
Yeah, it does. It's just, but and it eats at you because you know there's people there. That's the worst part about it. Yeah.
Well, then it's like, okay, you go like 2 hours of empty lobbies and then boom, you get a full juice lobby just in time when you're already out the fucking game. It just makes it so hard. It's so hard. Like you can't be consistent if there's nobody there. You know. To me, that's gonna kill a game. And I definitely. I feel like I never really say that. That's
going
to kill the game. There's no way in hell.
Soma, if you can put this podcast in front of Terrence, it'd be huge because I think all three of us brought up some points that they need to hear because they're not playing the game 24/7. They're designing, so they don't have our perspective, right? So I just genuinely feel like whether they have to change things with the way gear works so they don't have to bracket, that's up to them. They've got to work that out. That's their thing. We've put forward ideas, but the game, because the game's peaking at the moment. What happens when it has its moments like Tarkov where it does this? Because lots of multiplayer games do this now, guys. We all know this.
That's
Rainbow Six Siege, whatever. The game is, so we went like this. We're here. We're not here yet, but we're here. What happens when the game does this, like it did last wipe, and then we're going to go back up with the next update? This is going to feel like dog shit because of the way the brackets are set up. You think if you feel the game's dead now, imagine in like 3-4 weeks time, it's going to be really, really, really tough. And like people, I won't speak for Jay, but people like me, I'll be taking breaks and playing other games.
Sure.
And then waiting until they update the game because I can't do empty lobbies. It'll just make me like lose my mind.
Hard to not feel that way when it feels like it's forcing you to. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Dark and Darker has the highest of highs. Like when you're playing the game and you pull something off that feels really good, it feels so fucking great. Winning a really hard PvP fight, killing an HR boss, whatever, it feels really good. And then it has the lowest of lows when it just feels so fucking bad. Like the end of a wipe trying to grind out Demigod for a reward, or end of the wipe and there's no one in the fucking lobbies, or getting gear diffed, or whatever the fuck it is, some weird balancing thing that ruins an aspect of the game. It's funny how that works, because with the lowest of lows though, you do get the highest of highs. Like some of the most fun I've had in a decade in video games is this game, right? Anyway, folks, let's switch it up to Q&A. I have about 20 minutes. I'm going to so every Tuesday night here in San Francisco, there's a movie theater called Alamo Drafthouse. There's a bunch like in the West and in like Texas and shit, but it's a movie theater where you can like order cocktails and beer and like food and shit. It's like 21 plus only movie theater, which is cool. And they do Terror Tuesday, which is like weird horror movies every Tuesday. And
how much did they pay you? That's a good plug.
I'm literally paying them to go. Yeah, I have to buy a thing called a ticket. But yeah, tonight is Final Destination 3, which is a campy piece of shit movie. So I have to go check that out tonight. That being said,
Classic.
Classic shitty movie.
I'll get it started.
Yeah,
what do you
let's
guys think
do it.
of rock paper scissors and solos? This is a you question, Spuddy.
You mean the emo, or you mean like class checking?
Like the class type of matchups. Because I'll give you a preface. I don't really enjoy solos as a wizard player because like
a barbarian comes around the corner.
2 panthers, 3 you're loud in a game of quiet. That's like really it.
I despise it, but I know they're not like they've made it a lot better. Like in the past, it really was like hard counter. Now it's kind of, it feels like it's slightly hard counter. Like if I'm a wizard and I see a barbarian run around a corner, probably like a 70% chance I'm just going to die, even if I'm really good at the game, you know?
Sure.
So, that shit's annoying, but like I said about the brackets and like designing this stuff around gear PvP, they put themselves in a corner with the intention of making it trio based first and then finding out half the player base play solo. And then they're trying to cater to that at the same time, because you can't, you can kind of balance for everything, but you squish things a lot more when you do that. And I don't know, the game feels a lot better than it has in the past when it comes to solo. But yeah, I'll never agree or like in any game, rock paper scissors gameplay, because it just comes down to like gambling. It's like I'm in a small corridor, I open a door. That dude's 2 feet away from me. I had no sound cue. Now I'm locked in an engagement. Unless I'm like Druid and I can rat away, I'm locked in that engagement. That's why I'm playing Druid, because there's so much mobility. If I feel like I'm about to play something I can't take on, I can be like, and just like some kind of Disney cartoon and just goof away, you know?
Right.
So yeah, that's my answer. Hey, I'm gonna hijack the Q&A. You asked me what I feel like how the game is, Soma. Didn't ask Jay. I actually want to know how Jay feels about the overall game, like the overall game. You know, we know about the queuing system, right? What about the rest of it?
This man's fading back into the darkness.
I love the game right now. I think it's definitely the best state it's ever been.
Yeah.
That's just the parts that kill me, though. The dead lobbies. And I won't say like stream snipers or cheaters or whatever, because I mean, it's an easy cop out, but like, just the meta of the game. It's just like, it's just so scripted, and everyone just plays for third party because they know where all the action, all the hot spots are going to be. Really, it's just heat spots, well-trafficked areas, so. Other than the queuing and dead lobbies, yeah, it's got to be the meta. It's just everyone knows where to go. They always know how to third party. They're always perfectly timed, which I think is a separate issue. Truly, like a cheating ESP stream snipe issue. Yeah, it gets very old. Like 90+% of fights are immediately third partied. Like the second you get through a team, immediately, boom, they fly around the corner fully buffed. It just gets old as I like truth. So, and then all that incentivizes like playing like really skittish play styles. Like whoever engages first pretty much loses in the current meta of trios. That is not a fun environment. With so much on the line. And when you do have the fights where you're not getting third partied, and guess what? You got 3 man of rats flies out from the fucking rooftops. They instantly slurp all the loot. Even still, it's just crazy.
That's true. Yeah.
It's too much feels bad. It's not enough rewarding
I would say
for playing the game right now.
Your rat stream sniping is a byproduct of the queuing too. Because if the the lobbies are empty, it's very easy to go, okay, 1, 2, 3, boys, Jay's queuing. That easy.
It's like it honestly feels like it's the most snipeable game of all time. I mean, I'm a one game Andy, you know, this is all I've streamed. Well, DayZ's bad, obviously, but like,
man,
it's like getting Counter-Strike or getting sniped in like Counter-Strike or Valorant 24/7. It's like the game becomes unplayable. It feels like.
Dude,
truly unplayable.
Just to kick it over to DayZ for a second, DayZ stream sniping and scripting was so bad at points that you could do shit in that game that was absolutely ridiculous to other people if you wanted to. So like I would be streaming DayZ, I'd be running through the woods, and suddenly, no shit, on the fucking in the game, a news ticker like you're watching CNN or Fox News or something would appear on the fucking game.
I'd seen those, yeah.
And it'd be like, breaking news, Soma's a piece of shit dumbass, and everyone hates him, and he's really bad at this game. And everyone in the server seeing breaking news, Soma's a dumb fuck, or whatever the hell. And then they would literally, like, spawn out of the sky a ship that would fall on you, or, like, they'd throw helicopters at you from across the world, and you'd see, like, helicopter bombs dropping out of the fucking sky. Or I know shit had a frigate dropped on me from the sky in DayZ. That's the kind of stream sniping you could do in DayZ back in the day. It was beautiful. Terrible. Hilarious.
No, it was terrifying because that script, I actually had that one happen where the Fox News thing comes up, but it locked your screen too.
Yeah.
And one person did it to me, and it locked my screen, and it came up with it, and it was warning New York had been hit by a tactical nuke or something like that by Russia. And I was like, what the fuck? And I thought, I was like, I don't know, this is when it first came out. I don't know, I was like 19 or something. I was still a bit fresh. Yeah. I was like, wait a minute, am I being hacked, or is this legit? What the fuck is going on? Like, I was just so confused. Like, I couldn't even use my mouse or keyboard.
Yeah.
That was bad.
Yeah. There was some really crazy scripts and shit. Anyway, Plebor, he said, Soma, do you know of any plans to allow players to give the full game to someone else in a way to supplement no Twitch drops for the time being? All right, so the way the game currently is acquired is you get on Steam or Epic or whatever, and you go into the game, and then you buy red shards, and then with those red shards, you can unlock the legendary version of the game. Because of that, you cannot go on to the Steam page and just buy the game and gift it for someone. This is not good. I don't think that's good at all. I think it was something that was not considered when, you know, like Terry and SDF a long time ago, they said, hey, we don't want people to have to buy the game again, right? Like, you guys bought it on Blacksmith. It's eventually going to come back on Steam or Epic. If we feel bad that you have to buy the game again, right? Well, in order to, like, keep that promise, this is the system that we have. Personally, and people are going to think I'm evil for this, I think that the system actually caused more damage and actually fucked things up more trying to stick to that promise. And I think, and look, I'm not the CEO of Iron Mace, so it's not my call. But I think if it was just launched on Steam and Epic and people just had to buy the game again and they could purchase the game on Steam, gift it to people on Steam, do what they want in that regard, it actually would have turned out better. But that's not my decision to make, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, no. This is going to get to a different topic. But, like, can they not just sell it on Steam as well? Like,
I don't know.
It's free to play, but you buy the game on Steam, you know?
I don't know. I don't know how they can switch it personally. I think I don't know what the plan is either. I hope that they get to the point where you can just purchase the game directly on Steam instead of having to do it in game. Yeah. I hope it gets to the point where you can, like, I would like to buy the game for a couple buddies right now that haven't played it, that might want to check it out. Like, I wish I could just buy them the game and send it to them on Steam, but I can't do that right now. That's how I would have done it. Just, hey guys, I know you already bought it on Blacksmith. It's out on Steam. If you don't want to buy it again on Steam, just play it on Blacksmith. That's what I would have done. People would have hated me. Whatever. That's not what happened. What happened is, well, you
could just gift red shards.
Or gift red shards. That could be cool too. That's something that I've brought up. I'll bring it up again. In fact, I'm going to make a note that we need to really consider doing that soon, because I think a lot of people
it goes back to, like, the no ATM in the casino thing. It's like, people want to spend money at a place to spend money. Don't give them every option to not spend it. You know what I mean?
That's well said. Yep.
You gotta have the ATM in the casino, bro. It doesn't work without it.
You're right. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. What do we got next, boys? Let's get another questiones. What do we got, Jay? I know Wyvern is being changed already, but the idea of having some kind of prisoner's dilemma with another team is a cool thing. Are there plans to allow teams to work together with that looming threat? So that's from Smells Like Lotion. Nice name, buddy. I feel like people don't like that shit. On paper, I loved it. I was excited about meeting someone in the dungeon, you know, like meeting a second trio, and then going to the Wyvern and, you know, unlocking and fighting it. I liked it. And then I did it. Then I experienced it. And it sucked. It's not that great. You have the perfect kit to fight the boss. You go in, you're ready to go. Everyone just wants to PvP you. No one wants to cooperate. You ask someone on Void, they tell you, fuck off, cunt. and then you either get killed or you kill, and then you can't even do the boss, right?
Yeah.
I think that sucks. I don't think it's good. I think on paper it sounded dope. Experiment failed. I hope they don't try to do more stuff like that. I hope that there is other fun dynamic type events or other things beyond with other players beyond just going in and killing them or VoIPing with them. I don't know what that is. I would like to see more variety with interaction, but I don't think forcing interaction to unlock a certain thing like a boss is a good thing. I don't think it's smart.
Some crazy kind of sub boss spawning in the map that roams, and it's just insane. And it's like people run away from it, and it pushes people into each other, and they either help each other or fight.
See, I want Minotaur Labyrinth map. That's what this is. What you're
yeah,
that should be a different map. Like I want the map experiences to feel different too. Like I don't want the same experience every time I go from Goblin Cave to Ice Caverns to Ruins to Crypts. I like that it feels different every time. Not completely different. It's still the same base game, but you know what I mean, right? Like each map sort of has like a different vibe to a different feel. And I think a roaming Minotaur boss in a labyrinth
that bashes through doors, so you can't they can't just strictly cheese
you run
door
always.
locking them. And you can hear them bashing doors in the distance, and you be with your duo buddy going, Jared, we've got to get out of here quickly. The butcher's coming, the Minotaur. You know, like
and it's like Nemesis
attention to the game as well.
100%. It's like Nemesis in Resident Evil, right? Like imagine that's one of the maps, right? Like there's this roaming boss that you cannot get away from. You can hide, you can run, you can eventually escape with a you know a blue portal or something if you get to the center of the labyrinth, but either defeat him or die, really, or get out at the end. But I think that'd be super fun. I would love that. And if you see another trio as you're running in the labyrinth and the Minotaur is there and you decide to go help that other trio that's getting jumped by the Minotaur, awesome. I think people would do that. I think a lot of people would do that organically within that moment in the dungeon. I think trying to like pre-team it or like try to figure out like in a pre-game lobby would kind of suck. But in the moment, I'm seeing a trio fight the Minotaur and they're getting their ass kicked, and I know that if we run in there with my crew, there's a good chance we can kill them and then the other team and get some artifact or whatever. I would 100% do that, and I think my teammates would too. It's just I'm approaching something that has a gate, and I'm hoping other people will cooperate with me to get to that point to unlock it, like the Wyvern. That's not good. I think organic team up in the moment kind of shit. That makes sense. If that makes sense. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't.
I gotcha. No, definitely, because I knew from the get-go reading, like, when I learned how the Wyvern operated, I'm like, this would be a meme for like a week, and then it's streamer content, like immediately. Like just on paper. It's just, unfortunately, like I think I can't speak for SDF, but just judging by like interviews and stuff, he has he's like stuck in two worlds. It's like he wants this game to be like a PvP fucking like dungeon Counter-Strike kind of game. But then at the same time, he wants it to be like, oh, let's all be like World of Warcraft and we do a big raid together and go do this thing. Unfortunately, the way the game's designed, it is like it has that PvP BR DNA in it at the forefront. Like that is the game. You go in, you go kill people, take their shit. And most of the time when people are like teaming up on each other in solos, or pre-teaming on Discord or natural in game, it always feels like AIDS on the receiving end.
Yeah.
So like, I just don't think they'll be able to do that without fundamentally making like a PVE queue. Like you queue in and you cannot kill other players, you know, something like that. Not that I'm saying I'm advocating for that. I'm just saying if he wants that vision in the game, there has to be, there's that, like say you're on the map and you've got your 6 queues, or technically friggin' 12, right? But you got your 6 queues, right? And a random thing pops up every now and then. I know we said don't gate things, but you could do like, Wyvern map, it pops up. It's just randomly there. So, shit, we got a window, boys. We can all queue this and attempt to go kill the Wyvern together. And it's like everyone that queues into it is literally like there's no friendly fire, you know? Something like, I'm not saying I want this. I'm just saying this is their way of approaching something like that, you know? Where all of a sudden 12, 20 people can queue into this map and we're all taking on this big boss. And it's like we're all waiting. Something's like holding us back for a minute as everyone loads in. We load in. Then the battle music kicks in. You got that, because that Wyvern is actually cool. That friggin' thing is cool. But to me, it's wasted content the way they've designed it. It's so wasted. It's such a cool thing, yet so weirdly implemented, you know? So that's how they could approach it in the future. I'm not saying I want it that way. I'm just saying that's a way of doing it. But right now, it's something where they should just basically make it that 3 players can unlock it. All they have to do is get rid of one of those little stupid stones and then just make it trio content. You know?
I agree that it's implemented oddly. I don't know if it's a waste per se. I do agree that it's implemented oddly, and that it was an experiment that's people believe has failed.
Well, it's a waste as it stands.
And a waste as it stands.
That makes sense.
Here's one thing that I love about the Wyvern shit, even though it was a failure, was that Iron Mace is not a AAA studio or a quadruple A studio that is never going to take a risk. They're never just going to do the safe bet. They're a little indie studio that's just going to throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. And I am so thankful for that they're actually not afraid of the community bitching at them, and they're willing to just say, fuck it, we're going to try this thing. We're either going to get roasted or loved for it. We're going to do it anyway. SDF, don't give a fuck. He's going to do what he wants. He's going to experiment with what he wants to experiment with. And I got a lot of respect for that. I think it's cool as hell. And I'm happy that we had the experiment with the Wyvern. Even if it ended up sucking and it failed, good. At least the devs aren't fucking cowards, and they'll fucking try fucking new shit. And I love that. I don't know. Maybe I sound like a company man, but I truly do.
No.
I respect it.
I agree. I mean, that's the reason why myself, people like Jay, are still making content on the game and say, like, we'll vocalize our thoughts on things about the game. It's not in a hateful way. It's always because we're passionate about the game and we want it to go in the right direction.
Exactly.
I even feel that way about the unhinged parts of the community, like the general board chat or the Reddit sometimes, where there's just some real wild takes. And sometimes probably a bit too toxic towards the other members of the community or the devs. But you know, at the end of the day, they're just passionate about the game. That's a good thing. You know what's dangerous, gentlemen, and to your viewers, our viewers? It's when the game's quiet. And that's what I found with Cycle Frontier. When that game community got quiet, player numbers dropped. Then it got quieter. And then it got quieter. Yeah. So as much as noise can be annoying, noise is good. Because it means people care.
You're right.
Yeah.
That's true. Big Gay Mikey said, bring back multiclassing was the best feature. I don't see a kappa in that message. Do you guys miss multiclassing? Do you think it's a good idea to have it come back in any way? Like a big redux, reformatted, completely changed. Maybe it's not as punishing. Event. Maybe it's just an event. Do you think
limited time mode for arena?
Yeah, events.
Yeah. Do you think that'd be fun? I think like an arena event, multi-classing would be cool.
Here's the deal.
I don't think
fun for it.
Being
fun
a
but
main
broken.
Thing would be good,
that was
though.
the problem with it. Fun but broken, and then eventually the broken leads to unfun. Long term, short term fun.
That's right.
So
that's how everyone guessed it
Wizard.
too. Everyone knew that was coming too. We all knew that was going to be the case.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We called it. We knew this is going to be fun for 2 weeks. Week 3, it's going to be awful.
It's good that they can have it in the pocket, which I think is good.
Yes.
Limited time modes, pre-wipe event. Fuck it. Let people have a ton of fun with it. Yeah.
I don't even.
So
no. Yeah. The grandest noodle said multiclassing just broke, and that's why it's bad. I don't think that's why it was bad. I think one of the big things is a complaint that I saw a lot was class identity. Like it just like, why would I ever roll this X class when Y class has better base stats, and I know that I'm just going to be re-rolling for these 3 perks to make myself this good. That at that point, it didn't matter. Like you either rolled like what barbarian or rogue or like I think there was like,
everyone rolling double jump to get in those cheese boxes in their class.
It was like this. It was like the same shit over and over again. I think that's why it sucked, because it just everything felt the same. And when I got on my warlock was more barbarian than warlock at that point. And when people said, "What class do you play?" What the fuck, barblock? What the fuck am I supposed to say? You know, warbarian. Like I didn't know what my class was anymore because it was mostly barbarian or mostly warlock and a barbarian. I can't even remember. But that was the bad part. I think multi-classing, like we've said here, as an event or an arena or like once in a while or like in some reduced way could be cool. But I truly think that subclassing and a deeper progression system for your individual character classes and the character that you like to play, that's the most important thing. Give me.
Subclassing is just the answer. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Hate to break it to you. It is.
You're absolutely right, man. I'm with you.
Even multi-classing for events and stuff would be very fun.
Yeah, sure. I don't know. I think imagine a future where every class has like 3 or 4 subclasses to choose from, and each of those subclasses has multiple branches with new perks and new active abilities that you can unlock. And I don't know. I feel like the retention in play would not just go up a bit. I think it would fucking truly skyrocket. And this game would be like, in a way, like some sort of minor Diablo or PoE type game where people would play and grind and try new builds all the time.
You can just switch it up whenever you want if it's getting stale and just flip it the other direction, you know?
Yep. I mean, I don't think it's going to have like the replayability of like a hyper min-max kind of PoE shit. Don't get me wrong. That's like a different demon. But like in a lesser way, like a minor-esque PoE kind of a thing. We
don't need that anyways. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't know. I think it would completely change the game. I think, I don't know. I think it'd be super healthy. I think people would love it. I don't see any way that there's any negative attached to that, unless there was some subclass that was truly OP or broken. But
what you need, here's the deal. As someone who enjoyed it but hated it at the same time, my issue was basically not being able to make reads. So as long as they implement stuff where you can slightly make reads on like what your opponent can do. So
sure.
For instance, right now, there is a bit of random elements to it. Like you won't always know what perks people have. Like if you're not looking at people in the lobby, right? You won't know the exact perks they got or skills or their gear. But you can kind of guess, okay, that's a warlock. If he's doing meta, he's most likely going to curse me and then phantomize and do bonk if he's got like that kind of build or something, right? Or a barbarian, he's gonna like do a throwing axe with Achilles or hit rage and then run at you. So you plus back and wait till his rage is done and try and chew him down a bit, But when I was playing wizard during that era and I had double jump, and people couldn't expect me to double jump on places that I couldn't beat. They couldn't get to me.
Right.
And I would just go fireball, zap, and they couldn't touch me because guess what? I double jumped up somewhere I shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And they had no counterplay to that, and they couldn't read that. They couldn't go, oh, I'm dealing with a wizard. He's going to be in the sky. So, and it was the same for me as a wizard. Like when I didn't do double jump, I was playing the game, and all of a sudden, there was a tanky build of something that had sprint and rage.
Yeah.
So you had 2 speed buffs, and I couldn't kite or do anything. It was just they were in my face, 2-tap dead. And that's what triggered me about multiclassing, because I couldn't read. I couldn't go, oh, that character's about to do what his character does. I can do this as my character. It was, I'm just going to do things and hope that I just don't die, which is already in the game to a degree, but that made it tenfold where everything feels random. People, it's weird. Games are so weird because current generation of games, people like RNG. Look at Battle Royales. The skill-based gaming is slowly disappearing. StarCraft, RTS, all that shit is the heaviest skill stuff.
That's
fucking
right.
dead.
That's
Quake,
right.
dead. It's all slowly being more and more RNG. But people don't like things being completely random. They like having some influence.
Right.
So I felt multiclassing just made shit way too random. I yield, Senator. It's all yours. But yeah, that's it. That's how I felt about it.
Well said, sire. Well said.
Yeah.
The senator from Australia. Thank you for your time. Okay. Well said, sir. All right, so we're getting close to 2 hours. It is 9:18 for me. Let's do one more good question, and then we'll do outros and get out of here, and I'll go to my movie.
Rock and roll.
Jay, why don't we take one from your chat? I've missed so many in my chat. I haven't been able to catch up with all of it, so you guys choose the last one, so I don't feel like I've hurt someone's feelings by not answering their questions.
Here we are on your screen. Question. I'll open up your chat. No, I was pointing to one of you guys on the Discord screen.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry. Your chat, your question. You go for it. I can open up your chat if you want. It's up to you. You pick it. Oh, where are you? Ask Spud what drugs he does. Dark and Darker. Right. Next question. There you go.
Spud, are you sweating in that thing, by the way? It looks hot. Are you warm in that thick
spoilers for you guys in NA, because I know America, like, not to trigger you guys, but there is a world outside of America. We do have winter. It's freezing here. I'm in like a very.
Are you in Melbourne?
No, next to it, South Australia.
Okay.
Melbourne's the coldest. Yeah.
It's cold. So what's the temperature in Fahrenheit? Don't be weird.
Give me a sec. While Jay's getting a question, hold on 1 second. Okay, 17 degrees in. It's actually only 62 right now Fahrenheit.
Get the fuck out of here!
Like, it's not that bad here.
62
right now, but
Fahrenheit
night,
is daily in SF.
Yeah, but it's freezing here at night.
Here's like a given.
I'm fine.
They gotta
Jesus
put out
Christ.
the AP rewards sooner.
I agree.
Put out the AP reward. It's ridiculous to get them with like a week left in the way.
I know. I've mentioned that internally, but it's about
bandwidth.
It's about bandwidth. Yeah.
Here's one that I want to ask too. Any plans on giving anti-landmine technology to all squishy class?
This is what we said earlier.
Dreamwalk.
This is what we said earlier in the podcast.
Yeah,
in this
I know,
episode,
we gotta dive back into that one.
Let's dive back in for the final question. I feel like every single class in the game needs some semblance of a reset, like Druid gets with A, Rat Form, or B, really, Spirit Walk. Every class I don't think every class needs to turn into Kitty Pryde when they get hit. Like, that doesn't make sense. But I feel like Fighter, or like, let's see, like Barbarian, when they get hit, and it's going to be on a cooldown, just like Spirit Walk is, right? But their PDR should shoot up. They Hulk out, and their skin hardens, right? They get Iron Skin or something for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Fighters, they armor up whenever they get hit, right? And maybe it'd be similar to what the Barbarian does. Wizard gets some semblance of like a shield effect or a blink effect. You hit the wizard blinks in a random direction 10 feet, or a shield goes around him where weapons dink against it, like if you're trying to fight someone in a hallway and your mace hits the wall, something like that, right? Give everyone like a few seconds to reset. I think that would change the game for the better. I think it would help Timmy. I think it'd make PvP engagements more fun. It'd eliminate landmines for the most part. Some people would still get landmined. There would still be some issues. But if everyone had a proper 3 to 4 second reset, it would be very, very, very positive for the game.
All I'm reading is that sounds awful.
That sucks that people think that, because I don't think that sounds terrible at all. Why would you not want a 3 second reset in a fight when you're getting landmined by a rogue? Why is that a bad thing? I actually don't understand why.
I'd say tackle the landmine more than changing everything else.
It's not changing everything else. It's just giving everyone in the game, every class, the ability to reset a fight a bit.
Character problem. That's really what it is.
That's basically it. And the other way to deal with it is when you give rogue other abilities or things that they can do in fights. Give them more skill expression. Don't make them super fast that they can always kite and just run away from everything. But like give them like, I thought it'd be so fucking cool if they had like little like side steps and dash. Like, you know how they got tumble? Shit like that should be inherent in the class, not a skill perk. So they got tumble, dash, and they're not one. I call it the 1-2 fuck you. 1-2 fuck you. You're out the game. Any class that does that, it always feels like shit. Always. Get rid of the 1-2 fuck you across all classes. I know that's going to be hard in HR, but honestly, just like giving them the ability to just have some natural cool movement stuff where they're not super fast, but they can dodge things. I think that. I didn't really think it through too much. But
yeah, I don't know.
That's evasion. Instead of just being 1-2 fuck you, because it sucks for rogues as well. Because I'm thinking about rogue players. Because if your landmine doesn't work, then you're pretty much fucked anyway. So it's all one big gamble on both parties.
Yeah. By the way, we're just riffing here, folks. This is not anything we truly believe or have like some epic hold on where we wish it was the case. Like, we're just cooking here randomly. We're just riffing. We're just making this shit up on the spot, just as a friendly reminder. Okay. This was a very, very good episode. Loved this conversation. As a little reminder and as a recap of how the episode started, if you missed the beginning of the episode, I made an announcement that young Donnie, has decided to bow out of the podcast as a host. He's no longer going to be a host of The Darkest Hour. He's kind of over the game. He's got other shit going on in his life. He was the casual guy anyway, and he's kind of like not really feeling the game that much anymore, which is totally fine. He's been my friend for many years. He's going to continue to be my friend for many years. We talk in Discord all the time. But he's just not going to be on this podcast anymore, which sucks. He will, though, be coming back for episode 69 to do the Scuffedest Hour to say goodbye. And, you know, maybe we'll get some beers or something, you know, and say goodbye to Donnie on stream on that episode. But that's going to be for episode 69. That's not for another couple weeks. Next week. Oh, and then the other part of that announcement is now that Donnie is out, we needed a new third co-host. Our new co-host, of course, is SpudHunter, which is really awesome. It's hard to fill Donnie's shoes, but I believe that Spud will do a pretty damn good job attempting to do so. So yeah, like I said earlier, Spud, it's super awesome to have you on. I'm really excited to have you on as a co-host. So thanks for joining us, man.
Thanks for having me. I'll just make sure I get some more ADHD meds so I don't like go full TED talk every podcast and you guys are just like spectators. Because I do know I have that. Like I said, you pull that ripcord. I'm like, just keep going. So I just gotta like
it's
keep
good.
it in check.
I think it's a very good thing, actually. No need to apologize or change your personality. It's great. That's why I asked you to come on.
I'm more than enough.
You're more than enough, girl. You're fine. Buddy, you're good, girl. Awesome episode. We will be back next Tuesday for real at 6 p.m. PT with Soda Poppin' as our guest for episode 67. That's going to be great. That should be a huge episode. He's one of the biggest streamers on the platform, right? So I'm assuming there will be a few people watching. So the Q&A should be pretty robust for that episode. But yeah, that'll be your first official episode as a new co-host. You're supposed to be the guest tonight, Spuddy. You're supposed to be the guest tonight, but you became the new co-host.
Now I work here.
Yeah, now you work here. But yeah, next week will be your first real official episode as a co-host, which is cool.
I'll get a suit and tie for it.
Yes, please do. I'm sure Soda Poppin' will really like that.
I was gonna get a suit and tie.
Wow, Soda's gonna be very impressed. I'm gonna come naked. So yeah, just gonna have the cam like this.
Forehead cam.
Yeah. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm pantsless right now, so I'm in the dark, bro.
Nipple light. Okay.
All right.
Well, that was a great. I mean, that's what it looks like. Great episode. A lot of fun as usual. Next week will be great. Jay Griffey, where can people find you on the internet machine, sir?
I'm Jay Griffey on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube.
Fucking love it. TheSpudHunter. Drop it on us.
TheSpudHunter, OnlyFans, Twitch, Patreon, live cams, the lot. But yeah, Twitch, YouTube. I will plug it because I put a lot of work into it. My new YouTube video. It's think of it like a companion piece to the podcast because we do talk about metas and I don't just yap. I try and make it funny. So it's a big piece about metas in the game and why we shouldn't get too angry about it. It's just going to be a thing that we're always going to juggle like League of Legends or whatever. Mm-hmm. So yeah, YouTube, SpudHunter, meta, Dark and Darker. Go have fun. It's like 19 minutes.
Look, I've said it before. I think you're a great content creator in the Dark and Darker space. And I'm not just trying to gas you up here in SRD. Your last video was legitimately hilarious. I laughed out loud several times. It is actually worth watching. Jay, watch it on stream. It's worth it. Yeah.
Cheers.
All right.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. All right, folks. I'm going to go ahead to the movies, get a beer, and watch shitty-ass Final Destination 3. It's going to be hilarious.
Godspeed. Fun.
Yeah, thank you. You guys are beautiful. I will see you guys next week, next Tuesday at 6 p.m. PT, which is July 16th, with Soda Poppin', Jay, and SpudHunter here. Until then,
isn't it Wednesday today?
Is it Wednesday today?
No, I'm crazy.
No, yeah, 16th next Tuesday.
I thought we pushed it back.
I know we push it back all the time. I don't know what day it is either. But anyway, yeah. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next week. Have a great rest of your week. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Goodbye.